What's up guys, Midnight Hatter here with the first update video on my build off with Drakmordigital. As you can see, I will be starting with the HG Build Fighters Gym kit. I chose this kit because of its posability, and because it's a grunt suit, it's not going to have too much kibble to contend with, so it can look like a normal human pose, and should be a pretty quick build for me. Now first, let's take a look at the instruction manual. I love the Build Fighter instruction manuals because they're mostly full color, and they show you the kits that went into making the custom build. Now this particular one comes with 3 different head sculpts, and I'll talk on this a little bit later, but I'm going to end up using this Gym custom head sculpt for my purposes. Now I won't bore you with the full build video because, as you know, I'm notoriously slow at even building just a high grade kit. Suffice it to say that I will be using the gun primer razor to finish my parts. Since I'm not going to be painting this kit, I'm just going to do some panel lining and some basic touch-up work. Now onto the first interesting part of this kit is the shoulder articulation, because of the unique design of the 2-part chest that allows the collarbone to sort of fold in on itself like a natural human body would. It gives you a little bit extra range of motion. Now on to my first gripe with this kit is, for a kit that has this much articulation, I'm a little disappointed that we just have a ball joint on the edge of the shoulder for the arm attachment. Now this is interesting. There are a lot of customization ports on this kit, and it's because it's a Build Fighters kit. You're supposed to add on all these extra pieces, and I wish that they had more of these covering plates that they have for the calf mounting ports, because, you know, for this particular build I'm not going to be using any of those customization ports. Now here we've got the finished kit, which is partially panel lined. I used a Gundam marker, and when that dried out I used my, micron fine liners. I have not gotten to the interior of the shoulder joints yet, but we'll touch on that in just a bit. As I mentioned, it comes with multiple head sculpts, and that worked out nicely for me because I could use them for my paint experiments. As you know, I am quite obsessed with this blacklight activated neon glowing paint, and I planned on using it, so I wanted to test whether it would be better to paint on the inside of the clear plastic lens or directly onto the interior of the head sculpt. So here on this larger lens, I painted on the interior of the plastic, which gave me a really bright glow. Unfortunately, it obscured all of these details that are underneath the mask plate. So I think what we're going to do is go with the other version, where I painted directly onto the white plastic underneath the lens. It doesn't glow as brightly, but you still retain all of those interior details a lot better because you're not obscuring them with paint. Now I was originally going to go with this head because, and not giving away too much, I was going to put a cigarette on the mouth of this Gym, and using magnets on the inside, I was going to make it so that the cigarette could attach, and detach very easily. But then I decided that it kind of looks better on the Gym Custom because you have these little air vents that kind of look like where you would, it looks like a mouth where you could stick a cigarette in. So I'll try the magnet trick on this head just as well. Now my trick for panel lining the interior of the chest piece is going to be removing the chest piece and then using a micron brush pen to actually touch in all of those details. And then I'll wipe away the excess, and it should leave us with a nice shaded look where all of those crevices have lots of ink in them. So you see me here applying that ink pretty liberally to these creases and crevices, and then I'm just going to wipe away the excess using a cotton swab here. And here you go, you have the fully detailed and panel lined interior shoulder joints. So here is the completed kit. I applied a layer of the glow paint to the interior of the GM head. We've got some posability in the shoulders, and you know, the legs can really stretch out pretty far. I will gripe about the hand sculpt. They only give you the one closed fist hand sculpt, which is a little unfortunate, but we can address that using an MS hand kit. We'll probably end up using some of these open palm hand sculpts. Unfortunately, it looks like the back plate of the hand of the knuckle guard doesn't quite match, but we'll work with it. So now going on to some of that extra detailing that I was going to do, I'm going to use these Tamiya Weathering Master sets, but I'm not going to weather this kit so much. I really don't often weather kits with a lot of battle damage and dirt and stuff like that. I really use these Tamiya Weathering Master kits more just for detailing and for shading purposes. So while panel lining can really be used to accent the cavities and the recesses on a mobile suit part, I've found that using these Weathering Master kits can really accent the ridges and the edges of a mobile suit part. And that's really all I do, is I'm going to apply a little bit to the edges and then smear it, you know, towards the center to get that nice gradual shading effect. But apart from that, I'm not going to go too heavy with it, even though it is quite easy to overdo it with these Weathering Master kits. And now that's about it. Before my camera dies here, I'm going to turn it over to Chris, Drakmordigital, to share his updates with the Gundam Mark II.
Hey guys, welcome to the build. So, I'm Chris from Drakmordigital, and I'm here building the Gundam Mark II Titans version. I chose an RG for its articulation, posability, and I just really like the way RGs are put together. And I really wasn't disappointed by this build. I thought the use of the cockpit capsule, something you saw more in like the Zeta, what is it, the new Gundam fight where you saw him grab that out of the Sazabi. Really liked that little bit of detail, even if it's just so small in the actual model itself and completely covered by the end of it. Problem is, once I got to the feet, though the actual feet themselves were super cool, getting to the legs, I found what effectively is my least favorite thing I've ever had to build on a Gunpla, which are those little cloth tubes in the back of the legs. They're also on the top on the backpack, but I think I've learned, and I have a few things I found online that gave me little tutorials on maybe how to fix my problem with it. I just find they fray and are hard to get solidly in place. There's a lot of this footage where you actually see me just poking at it, trying to get it fixed and get it right. It took forever, but I finally did by the end of it. Lending to actually getting the inner frame all set, which is super cool. I mean, this inner frame is just great. It's a lot different than the Char's inner frame, the Zaku 2, a lot different from the Red Astray. Obviously, different bots, but I don't know. I felt that this inner frame was very solid. It was nice. And getting the actual outer armor, super fun. A lot of different color separation just makes it pop, makes it look better. Just even the little bits and pieces. I also really liked the fact that on this one, I don't know if I haven't watched enough Zeta to know the difference and to see if like different pilots do different like portions on their bot, such as the little like outgas vents on the sides of the leg, little boosters, as well as on the shoulders. You had a choice And I'm guessing there's some representation from the show in there, but I don't have full knowledge on it. So, or certainly I just haven't had enough time to really watch it. So it's been fun to kind of like figure out, oh, I can make it just that little bit beefier or something like that. And I have big fan of this kind of like, I don't know, not as slender bot. So it was fun to add those little extra bits that kind of stick out just a little bit more. Also, in general, like I really like the articulation of the cockpit, which I've found that all of them have, kind of like how an MG would have it. But again, it's very simple. It's just two pieces, and it just slides out. And it feels, I don't know, feels very satisfying when you're doing it. Same with the on the back skirt. There's the bazooka holder, kind of like the Zyku 2. It's just a super basic version, but it's just like it's good enough that it does the job and it looks nice and it hides well, which is kind of cool. I had a lot of fun articulating the arms prior to actually putting on the armor, but even with the armor on, I'm surprised how little the armor limits mobility. It's actually very good. It lends to most things. You're not really missing much. Also, I really tried to, get as nice of a cut and as even of a sanding as possible on these. So there's a lot of this video where I'm just trying to take my time with it and really get it down so that I have a good build coming out of it. So I have very little to clean up when I'm all done, which now I am. And here's a little bit of a couple shots of the final product. And equally, one of the shots at the very end is kind of a little throw what I might be doing with this bot, with the whole build. So here you go. Back to you, Hatter.
Thank you, Chris. Now, you won't be getting any more details about my final build, but I will say that your Mark II is looking fantastic. I must have repressed the memories of putting together those fabric tubes on the back of the legs when I did the AUG version of the RG Mark II. Now please go check out the full build video over on Drakmordigital's channel. I'll put a link to that in the description below. If you are liking the series so far and excited to see the finished product of this Mundane Gundam build-off challenge, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will catch you later.